Here's everything you might have missed in the Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania trailer. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania finally has an official trailer, and it is chock full of quantum realm hijinks, unintentional Spy Kids 3D cosplay, and of course, the one thing we actually need for a Kangwatch, Kang the Conqueror.
This is wild.
We're gonna break it all down, the new trailer and everything that you might have missed in just a moment, but if you're worried about potential spoilers, well, leave now so we can all avoid a big misunderstanding.
Did you want to grab dinner or something? I mean, because I'm free. Yeah, come on.
Okay, let's get into it, shall we? Set to these sweet strains of Elton John's Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, the trailer reassures us that we are most definitely not in Kansas anymore. We're actually briefly in San Francisco and then back inside the quantum realm. Scott Lang is enjoying his newfound fame in the wake of saving the universe in Avengers Endgame. As we learned on Ms. Marvel, he's done podcast appearances on This Powered Life in an interview titled Big Me, Little Me, and during footage shown at Comic-Con, he apparently also wrote a book called Look Out for the Little Guy. This means that he's now invited to red carpet events, getting recognized on the street, and is named Baskin-Robbins Employee of the Century. That is a huge turnaround after he got fired from the ice creamery back in the first Ant-Man.
Well, you're fired, of course. I mean...
They even brought back Scott's old boss, played by On Cinema host Greg Turkington, although they probably didn't need a podcast or a book to find out what a hero he really is.
Baskin-Robbins always finds out.
Of course, media literacy being what it is these days, sometimes he still gets mistaken for that other bug-themed superhero.
Thank you, Spider-Man!
On the bright side, the MCU is about to get some really great car ideas, which is great news for the Ant-Man and terrible news for Scott's mother-in-law.
No space for mother-in-law.
On the streets, we see a kid rocking an Ant-Man backpack, but the real question is, does Scott get a cut of the profits on those bad boys? I mean, he probably got money from his book deal, but considering the dire financial straits we saw Sam Wilson in during The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I'm now chronically worried for all the non-billionaire Avengers.
Who are you? Come on, man.
In the PIMS Quantum Lab, we see a number of research books on ants, including one called Journey to the Ants and another on the common ants of California. Scott is also apparently now the world's greatest grandma and the world's best dad based on the mug we see here.
I'm so touched you think I'm the world's greatest grandma.
Who's the only one they had?
Cassie Lang, now played by Detective Pikachu star Katherine Newton, invented a satellite capable of contacting the quantum realm, so people stuck down there can call for help. Cassie will get her very own Pym particle-powered superhero suit in this movie too. In the comic, she becomes the size-changing superhero Stature and joins the Young Avengers. As we've mentioned many times before, the MCU seems to be setting up a Young Avengers team of its very own to assemble sometime in Phase 5 or 6, with heroes like Speed, Wiccan, Patriot, Ms. Marvel, America Chavez, Kate Bishop, and maybe even Hulk's newly introduced son, Scar. Anyway, back to the matter at hand. The prospect of a quantum satellite scares the living daylights out of Janet, because she knows what lies beneath in this secret universe beneath our own, or more specifically, who lies beneath? Kang the Conqueror. The heavy implication here is that Janet has an existing relationship with Kang from her time trapped in the quantum realm. She was down there for like 3 decades. She's clearly frightened of what Kang is capable of, and for good reason. This also raises the question if some of the scenes taking place in this trailer are in flashback form, like the one where Janet's about to be devoured by that weird alien mantis creature in the blue cave. Kang is clearly a smooth talker and maybe could have played the hero at first only to show his true blue colors later on. The quantum realm is an extremely chaotic looking place full of floating land masses, energy streams, and wormholes galore leading to massive portals. The real question is, to what timelines do these lead? The quantum realm proved crucial to Endgame's time travel mechanics, and it seems like it's only going to get more important during the MCU's multiverse saga. Based on the events of Loki, the Time Variance Authority is no longer actively pruning these branch timelines that develop after someone deviates from the so-called sacred timeline. Sylvie murdering He Who Remains effectively broke the multiversal dam. So now these portals in the sky likely lead to other branch timelines where a Nexus event caused a new branch to form. We see 4 different bursts of light streaking across the sky above the quantum realm, and these are our heroes, but there are only 4 streaks because Scott was holding on to Cassie when they got sucked into the quantum realm. The other 3 are Hank, Janet, and Hope. And as we see throughout the trailer, it seems like they'll start their journey separated as these 2 groups try to reunite. There's a real island of misfit toys quality to the denizens on the outskirts of the quantum realm. It's kind of reminiscent of Thor's landing in Sakaar in Thor Ragnarok. Scott and Cassie are accosted by a robot that looks like the Ultron version of the Pixar lamp and other humanoid figures wielding sharp sticks. They also apparently keep giant slugs as livestock or pets, or maybe both. We see a number of characters who appear to be outside of Kang's sway, like Bill Murray's mystery character rumored to be playing Krylar. You know Krylar, that guy who appeared in a single issue 1972's Hulk 156? Yeah, that Krylar. He's back, baby! Krylar was a character that the Hulk encountered on a journey through the microverse. That's what the quantum realm seems to be based on in the MCU to a degree. Krylar was a scientist working for a murderous warlord, and he made a machine capable of bringing someone's greatest fears to life. Whether or not we'll see that machine incorporated here to scare Kang into submission remains to be seen, but it does seem like Krylar and Janet have a history, and that ship we see flying across the quantum realm seems to be Krylar's. At one point, Janet leads Hank and Hope into an underground cantina by unlocking a door emblazoned with mysterious symbols. And these symbols kind of resemble Tom Muller's design work for House of X and Powers of X, but it could be a map of the quantum realm or Chronopolis. These symbols around the edge of the door are similar to an early logo for Quantumania, so maybe it's just an alphabet they use down here. Inside the bar, which would make a great addition to Disneyland, we see one alien whose face and hair resemble Mobius strips. The concept of a Mobius strip also helped Tony crack the code for figuring out time travel back in Avengers Endgame. We also finally get to see Kang in all of his comic book glory, and it is simply a joy to see our Kangwatch rewarded like this. Clad in his signature green and purple armor from the comics, Kang has his blue face during certain sequences. It appears that this could be an energy field or maybe like a force field generated by his helmet, because later on when he's making Scott an offer he can't refuse, Kang's face is not blue. Clearly it's connected to his armor or maybe his abilities. Ultimately, though, our hero's travels will take them to a massive city that some eagle-eyed viewers spotted back in Ant-Man and the Wasp. This is Chronopolis, the kingdom of Kang the Conqueror that exists outside of time itself. Created by Roy Thomas and Larry Alexander, this sprawling city first appeared in 1992's Captain America Annual number 11. In the comics, different segments of the city existed in their own separate timelines, accessible via hidden portals. Now, presumably, one of the big MacGuffins of this movie is the Heart of Forever. That is the device that allows Chronopolis to exist on every branch of the time stream simultaneously. Described as a trans-chronal engine, this enabled Kang to interact with different timelines and change past events without creating new branch timelines. It was a major source of conflict between Kang and one of his variants, Immortus, during 1998's Avengers Forever number 3, which resulted in the destruction of the city. Now, the Heart of Forever is most likely the battery-like container that Kang places that glowing orb into during the trailer. In the comics, Immortus destroyed Chronopolis and fused the city and the Heart of Forever into one object known as the Forever Crystal. It let him alter history at will. And this could be what Kang is trying to prevent from happening and why he needs Scott Lang's help, as he mentions later in the trailer. Maybe one of his variants is trying to seize the Forever Crystal, which could cause all sorts of chronal chaos, leading to the events of Avengers the Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars as well. Or maybe this is the variant hellbent on causing said chaos and he needs help to escape the quantum realm himself. The design of Chronopolis here is a bit different than what we see in the comics. At least we can't see if there's a giant dome surrounding the city. There's a large citadel-like building in the center that appears to be a focal point with a golden area at its apex. There are also a lot of circles that kind of evoke gears on a clock as well. And all of this is to say nothing of the massive armies of blue-helmeted soldiers and airships that Kang has assembled here. The real question is, are they Kang variants like the members of the Council of Kangs in the comics? Because if so, that's a major cause for concern. Remember what He Who Remains said in the Loki finale.
If you think I'm evil, just wait till you meet my variants.
After all, why would you need an army of this scale unless you were planning on doing some conquering of your own? It's increasingly looking like Scott's gonna have to make a deal with this devil if they want to actually escape the quantum realm in one piece. Also, it may have to do something with the fact that Scott seemingly destroys a large chunk of Chronopolis and Kang's army when he goes full giant man in the middle of the city. But that doesn't mean our heroes will deal with Kang willingly or without great sacrifice. In Scott's case, he may have to call on and sacrifice variants of his own based on the one shot we see of a bunch of Ant-Mans running towards a portal in the sky. One of them, an embiggened Ant-Man, gets spaghettified like Reed Richards in Multiverse of Madness, which never ends well. Now, at one point, we see Scott and Hope looking bloodied in what appears to be either a ship or Kang's citadel. Hank and an injured Janet are there as well. There are red lines of energy crackling in the air as well, and they seem to be warping the space around them. And given that Cassie's missing from this shot, she could either be in Kang's clutches, or she could be the one to save the day given her inventive streak and her newly minted supersuit. What we didn't get in this trailer, though, are any clues about MODOK, who's said to be another villain appearing in the movie. Whether this mechanized organism designed only for killing is one of Kang's lieutenants or a rival trying to seize power remains to be seen. But this sinister super genius would certainly add quite the wrinkle to Scott's moral dilemma over whether or not to help a guy who was actively involved in a multiversal war previously. Multiversal war! Come on, Scott. And another question, could we see Ravonna Renslayer appear in this movie? According to Screen Rant, she's rumored to appear in the movie, but take that with a grain of salt. At the end of Loki, Ravonna left the TVA in search of free will, and in the comic, she's involved in a romantic relationship with Kang the Conqueror. And what better place to find true free will than somewhere outside the constraints of time itself? Now, if she does pop up, it could be a fascinating way to expand and explore her character and bridge the gap between Quantumania and Loki Season 2. Anyway, folks, there you have it. That's everything we spotted in the very first Quantumania trailer. We'll have plenty of other theories and deep dives for you on Nerdist as we count down the days until Quantumania hits theaters on February 17th, 2023. In the meantime, though, tell us, what did you think of this trailer? Did you spot anything that we missed?
Turn it off. Now!
Let us know in the comments below, and for the latest and greatest in the world of pop culture, make sure you stay tuned to Nerdist.com.